NetsBoys, let's hear what he has to say. His name is NetsBoy, he thinks the world is all over. When the Nets just can't play.
What up, Net fans? NetsBoys back and bring your latest in your Brooklyn Nets news. Welcome, everyone, to the unofficial beginning of the 8th season of NetsBoy. I want to go with 8th, but I don't really know for sure. But whatever. A lot of episodes. The next season of NetsBoy for the 2022 and 2023 season, and we're kicking off with some exciting Kyrie Irving drama like always, because that's what we do. The NBA draft is right around the corner. It's tomorrow or tonight, depending on when you see the episode. But there's really not a lot to talk about in the way of the NBA draft for the Nets, because the Nets currently have 0 picks. Yeah, 0 picks in this upcoming draft right now. No first round pick because they deferred the 76ers pick in the Harden deal to was it 2027? I think that's when they deferred to, or whenever it is. I don't remember when it's being deferred, but it was deferred. And they also then don't have their own second round draft pick because they put that in the deal when they traded Jana Musa for Bruce Brown. So the Nets don't have a single draft pick in this draft, which is very, very interesting. Before we start talking about that, as you can see, some little housekeeping. You do see my wonderful custom NetsBoy jersey is framed and right behind me. Took me some time to get up there since despite me losing a little bit of weight, I still don't fit in that jersey, but that's okay. It's kind of stupid where I have it right now. Like in the camera, like my head's kind of in the way. Logically, I should have maybe put it more over here, but maybe I'll move it. Maybe it'll be in a different spot next episode, whatever. But for the time being, there it is. I had mentioned that I was going to get it hung up, so I did it. I wanted to do it before the unofficial season started. Anyway, so that's that with that. So let's just start off first, like I said, with the NBA draft, and then we'll dive into the Kyrie Irving drama because that's what I'm sure everyone wants to talk about and cares about. Like I said, so in the draft, the Nets don't have a single draft pick, but that still doesn't mean they won't trade for a draft pick. Sean Marks has a history of making draft day trades to get into at least the second round at some point and draft some player that they believe that they can develop and try to build upon. I mean, it's kind of what Sean Marks does. He's been very good at evaluating depth talent of players that are maybe developmental but have potential. So don't be surprised if Sean Marks trades like 2 future second-round draft picks to get another draft pick, a second-round draft pick in the draft, and they might go after a player. I haven't heard a lot in the rumors of the Nets making a trade, but as everyone knows, it is a possibility. So even though the Nets don't have a draft pick, I'm still going to be watching the draft and seeing what happens and keeping my, ears open to see if the Nets make a move or if something happens and, in which the Nets will be involved. Maybe there will be a draft day trade where the Nets do something. Who knows for sure. So I am going to watch. It's just, I don't know if there'll be much to talk about. So we'll just have to watch and see. So that's really it with the NBA draft. But what I'm really going to focus the rest of this episode on is this Kyrie Irving drama. The more, obviously, the crazy, always interesting saga that is Kyrie Irving. Look, I think all this drama and all these speculation and all these rumors are just absurd and just BS at this point. I have no sources. I am not Stephen A. Smith or any of these other people that are out there, Tim Legler and, Adrian Wojnarowski or anybody else, Brian Windhorst. I'm not any of these experts, not even close to them. I don't have resources. I don't have connections. I don't have anything. What I do have is common sense. And what I do have is observation. And what I do have is what I feel the ability to kind of understand situations on a broader scope. Kyrie Irving is going nowhere. He is not leaving the Brooklyn Nets. He doesn't want to leave the Brooklyn Nets. Nor do the Nets really want Kyrie Irving to be gone. Everyone that's trying to say they're at a stalemate or they can't get on the same page or they're disconnected, they're just trying to drum up a narrative of drama and issues because that's what the media does. And that's what they're supposed to do because they're supposed to sell stories. And what do people want to hear? Oh, everything's all fine and dandy with Kyrie Irving and the Nets after the season they had? No, that's not the big, sexy story. The story is there's drama, there's disconnect, they're at an impasse. And then all of a sudden, Kyrie might go to the Lakers in a sign and trade and the Nets will get Russell Westbrook. Or Kyrie Irving's going to go to the Knicks. Why the hell would he do that? Why the hell would the Knicks want that? I can understand the Lakers. I mean, if I'm the Lakers, anything's better than what you got going on right now with Russell Westbrook. And to me, that's the most plausible situation. And I would hate that so much because I certainly don't want Russell Westbrook on the Nets. But if Kyrie Irving does opt out and wants to go to the Lakers, it would have to be in a sign and trade. And in that situation, the Nets would pretty much have their hands tied and have to be able to accept whatever the Lakers give the Nets. And it would probably be Russell Westbrook. So I understand that one. But the Knicks? What kind of sense does that make? For both sides. If the Knicks got Kyrie Irving, how are they really in any better situation than what they are the last couple years? Like, that doesn't put them closer to being a good team. They still be an okay team, playoff contending team. But at the same time, why? And why would Kyrie do that? Like, it's just stupid narratives. It's just stupidity. It's the media spewing things. Look, is Kyrie Irving happy with what the Nets are offering or just discussing? Probably not. Are the Nets thrilled with what happened and transpired the last year with Kyrie Irving and the vaccination situation and missing all the time? Absolutely not. But once again, that doesn't mean that they want to get rid of the guy, and that doesn't mean he doesn't want to be there. It's just negotiation. They're just working out the kinks and working out the deal that is going to be agreed upon. And look, I've said this to a couple of my friends. To me, the most logical situation would be this, if I was Kyrie. I would say to the Nets, here's the deal. I'm going to opt in to my $36 million player option, and I'm just going to prove to you that I am committed. Give me this 1 year to prove that there's not going to be any distractions, there's not going to be any issues, no off-the-court stupidity, no, me not playing because of X, Y, and Z. I'm going to come out. I'm upset how last year ended. I'm just going to ball. And in doing so, I would like then, if once I prove my value, my worth, and my commitment to the organization, I would like a full extension after that. That's what I would do if I'm Kyrie Irving. Now, maybe that's too much. And if I'm the Nets, I'm 100% setting up for that. You just say, hey, let's just kick the stone down the road, and we'll figure it out later. Another thing that I expect to happen is some sort of compromising contract. That the Nets give the extension, but they put some contingencies in. Similar to what the 76ers did with Joel Embiid when he had all the injury-plagued years. They give him the extension, but they had a contingent on him playing X amount of games a year, or else certain situations of the contract would be voided and certain numbers would be different along those lines. And I did hear one thing where supposedly the Nets were offering Kyrie the full 4-year extension with that same stipulation that it was required that he played a minimum of 62 games the first 2 years. I mean, 62 games a season the first 2 years to get the full max contract, the full dollar amount. And that's where I think this is going. And I think that that's more than fair for both sides. If you're Kyrie Irving, you have to understand this isn't a personal attack on you as a person. You have to protect your investment. You got to be able to protect your books. Granted, it's not going to help in the scheme of, roster flexibility because a salary cap is a salary cap, and maybe you don't have to pay Kyrie the full amount of the money. It still counts towards the cap. So I would handcuff Sean Marks and his ability to really improve the team if Kyrie doesn't play for whatever reason. But at least it helps owner Joe Asai and his financial abilities if he doesn't have to shed the full contract amount if Kyrie goes AWOL again. But, if you look at what happened, you have to accept that and say, you know what? I understand the business side of what they're doing. They're protecting themselves. And then on the other side, the Nets should look at the situation. Sean Marks would be like, we understand Kyrie had a lot of crazy things that go on. We're going to believe that he's going to right the ship. So we're going to still give him the extension. So, like, that's where I think this is going. That's what I think is going to happen. He's not going to the Lakers. He's not going to the Knicks. He's not going and testing free agency and forfeiting $36 million this season. He's not going to roll the dice. He wants to play with Kevin Durant. They are friends. He wants to play for the Brooklyn Nets, the organization that he was born and raised and followed and was a huge fan of while growing up in West Orange, New Jersey. Okay? So Kyrie Irving is not going anywhere. And come June 29th, the deadline for him to either opt out or opt in, we're going to hear that the Nets have figured out a deal with him. I'm almost positive. Perhaps they wouldn't and Kyrie opts out, but I'm telling you, he's not going anywhere. The only way is if Kyrie Irving gets so offended by what something Sean Marks or Joe Asai or Steve Nash or anybody in the Nets organization says to Kyrie to the point that he says, screw you guys, screw you Kevin Durant, screw you Brooklyn Nets organization. That's the only way I see him not coming back to the Nets. Because I think the Nets are going to want him, and they're going to willing to work out a deal to bring him back at any cost. Because at the end of the day, the Nets are not going to want Russell Westbrook. They're not going to want John Wall, who I heard was a possibility in a trade. They're not going to want whatever package the Knicks would give Evan Fournier and who the hell knows who else in a sign and trade to get, on the Nets team. Like, the Nets don't want that. They want a Kyrie Irving who shows up and plays. So that's the motivation. That's why I just don't think this is going to happen. I think he's going to be a Net. I've been wrong before with these things, but I'm telling you, the logic, my intuition, my gut, my common sense is just telling me that these two want to be together. They're just trying to work it out. It's negotiation. It's business. So that is my take on the Kyrie Irving drama. The Kevin Durant drama being tied into the Kyrie Irving drama, that's a whole other stupidity in my opinion as well. Kevin Durant has never shown any reason to be focused so much on one particular player or situation in which he wants that he would want to leave. Like, the rumor is if Kyrie leaves, Kevin Durant will be upset and demand a trade from Brooklyn. Is that really the case? I mean, this is the guy who every day in the media says, man, I just want to hoop. How does someone who just wants to hoop really care whether or not he plays with his best friend or not? I understand that's the reason why they came together. That's what they wanted to do. But at the same time, you really think that Kevin Durant, if Kyrie Irving leaves, is going to storm into Sean Marks' office the next day and says, trade me now? I don't think so. It's not Durant's personality. He's never demanded to be traded, by the way. He's signed his free agents with different teams. Golden State, from Oklahoma City to Golden State, he was following a championship. From Golden State to Brooklyn, he was following Kyrie, but also kind of felt like he accomplished all he needed to accomplish with the Warriors. He won 2 championships. He won 2 finals MVPs. He was ready to try something else. And also there was probably some behind-the-scene issues with Draymond and everything out there, but I don't think that's the reason why he left. I think he really looked at his best friend Kyrie and said, let's go. Let's redefine our legacies in another organization where we will be the guys. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that Kyrie and Durant came to the Nets because they knew that they would be able to come into an organization and, for lack of a better term, run it. Like, because that's the reality of it. Like, the superstars run the organizations. This is Kevin Durant's team and Kyrie Irving's, but mostly Durant's. All right, with the Warriors, that was Steph's team. By the way, congratulations to the Golden State Warriors for winning a championship. Their 4th championship in 8 years or something like that? I was very happy. Screw you, Celtics. You don't deserve to win. Steph Curry deserves to win. He was incredible. But anyway, sorry. Celtics deserve to win eventually. I don't know. we're not going to go into that now. But anyway, that's just what I'm saying. So the fact that people are saying that Durant will be gone doesn't make sense to me either. None of this makes sense. This is all story. It's all clickbait. It's all fake news, to use for once again lack of a better term. You know, it's irrelevant. It's the media skewing things, trying to make people excited about the NBA offseason. And I'm excited too, because the Nets have loads of decisions to make. What's going on with Nick Claxton? What's going on with Bruce Brown? Are they going to end up, trading, one of these players to get somebody else? What's their big situation going to be? Drummond's probably gone. Aldridge and Blake Griffin are both really mad that they didn't play, and they're probably going to be gone. There's a lot of things that need to be figured out. There's rumors about the Nets going after P.J. Tucker, a lot. But we will discuss that another time. Probably after the draft and right before the official beginning of free agency, which is, I believe, January 1st, is when teams can talk to each other. That will be around where my next NetsBoy episode will be, where we will talk about anything that does happen in the NBA draft. And then we talk about some of the moves that I would want the Nets to make, some of the players I hope they bring back, some of the players I hope they get rid of, some of the players they hope they go after. And who knows, maybe we'll be talking about Kyrie Irving and his contract. We'll see what happens. So let me know what you guys think about everything. All this Kyrie Irving drama, this stupidity that people are saying, the Durant crap, the possibility of the Nets, losing these players or trading, or I don't even know. Whatever the hell I was just been talking about, let me know what you guys think about everything. Until then, this is NetsBoy welcoming everybody back and saying keep your eyes open to the next NetsBoy episode. This is NetsBoy signing off.